What's up YouTube, it's Adam from Digitize. Today I'm going to be bringing you my Mervamon BeelStar deck profile. This is the same list we used in the video from a couple weeks back. Haven't made any changes to it yet, but I've got a couple things I'll throw out at the end as just ideas and different tech choices and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. We'll start with the Digimon. Playing 4 Mervamon. It's just the best generic purple egg, obviously. Draw 1, discard 1. When it is deleted, that's just never a bad thing. You want to be cycling through your 7-cost options to power up your BeelStar, as well as your Retaliators to make use of your Mervamon Digicross. The last egg, I'm playing a 5th one, is just 1 copy of Sunamon. It's just you'll cycle through a lot of stuff in this deck. Obviously you're going to be swinging pretty much every other turn, so getting an extra draw here and there just from trashing a card is still pretty good. Alright, moving on to the rookies, we play 4 of the new Ignitemon. Ignitemon is your main tool to lessen the cost of your Digicross for your Mervamon, and then it also has a when attacking skill. You can delete one of your other Digimon, and when you do, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon that is equivalent or lower level to the one you deleted. So it's really useful if you want to go in with an Eismon and it doesn't die. You can swing with an Ignitemon, kill your Eismon, and then kill one of your opponent's level 4s or lower, and also get the draw discard off the Eismon. So I really like the Ignitemon. It also has the inheritable to gain a memory when you play a Digimon by an effect. So if you play a Mervamon with an Ignitemon and it lasts for a turn, and you play another Mervamon, you can make it cheaper by 1 more, which is kind of cool. And also it lets you, if you play like a Nailbone or something, it will trigger. It's also all turns, so if your opponent hits into a Nailbone in security and you get to play a level 4 or something from your trash, then you can also trigger this and act as like a little Hammer Spark type thing. So that's pretty cool. Next up, I'm playing for Gabumon. This Gabumon is really good just to help cycle through your deck. When you attack, you draw 1, trash 1. So it helps you do the same thing as the Mervamon, power up your option cards in the trash, and as well get your Retaliators in the trash as well, just to make sure you have targets for your Mervamons. So yeah, very good. It's also really good to guarantee discards off your Eismon. Everyone knows that Eismon has jamming, so if it doesn't die, then you can just still get some utility from attacking with it. Up next, we've got 2 Devimon. This is the only rookie in the game that has retaliation, so that's really why you play it. It's really the only reason. It lets you get it back off a Nailbone, so you can BeelStar a Nailbone and get back 2 Retaliators. So if you've got a Mervamon on the field, you don't have to play a second Mervamon if your BeelStar is cheaper to play. You can still get 2 retaliating bodies that way. So it's pretty useful. It's kind of important to note that it can't actually attack other Digimon in this deck. You don't play any Myotismons, shocker. But other than that, it's really good. You can still put it out early. If you swing and live somehow, then they can't attack back into you if they don't have some protection against retaliation, so it's kind of annoying to deal with if that's the case against certain decks. Last rookie we're playing, I chose 2 Elecmon. This is really just to try and help your matchup against things that play like Solarmon, Chikurumon, kind of the Floodgate rookies. Also things like, Gazimon, Psychmon, Madoki Betamon, the whole lot. It's just another answer. You can Nailbone it out and then swing with it the following turn. You can also evolve it in Raising, and then maybe you have like an Ignitemon from the turn previous. You can swing with your Ignitemon and then kill your Elecmon and also kill their rookie. Potentially kill 2 rookies because you're killing the Elecmon and then you get the effect of the Elecmon. So it's kind of cool to do some plays like that. It doesn't really come up all that often, and this could really be anything. I'll get into some other rookie choices at the end of the video, but that's what I've settled on so far, and we'll move on to the champions. Alright, on to the champions. For Eismon, Scatter Mode, kind of a no-brainer in a purple deck. Especially in this deck, you want to be drawing as much as possible and discarding as much as possible. You have so many valid discard targets between options and retaliating bodies, and Ignite-mons for Digicrossing, and it's just everything. You can discard pretty much whatever you want. It is kind of important in certain matchups to manage how much of certain things you discard, so resource management is probably the main issue with this deck if you're not careful, but a lot of the time the deck is just so quick, and you also have so much bulk in your security, essentially. Like, you've got so much defense just built into the deck that it's really hard for your opponent to break down. So being aggressive with the Eismon is also just, it puts more pressure on them to do something, and they kind of just will walk into some options if they do that and they're not careful. Next up, play 4 Soulmon. So I've opted for more Soulmons just to help consistently get the buffs out. It's really nice to get out some Mervamon, get out a Mervamon and 2 Soulmons, and then your Soulmons have 8,000 apiece. And then not a lot of level 4s and 5s can swing over that safely. So essentially you can keep your Soulmons on the board even after they block, so you won't be, trading. You'll be just an advantage, so it kind of forces them to not swing. And then essentially if you get 2 Soulmons and then you get a third one out the following turn, then they're 10,000, and obviously that's even harder to get over. And with the full 4 set, you can get up to 12, and that can stop a lot of megas too. So I think the 4 Soulmons is really good. The other champion I'm playing is just 2 Dark Lizardmon. I've opted for only 2 instead of like a 3-3 split, or 4 Dark Lizard, 2 Soulmon, again for the reasons that I just mentioned. The power buff on the Soulmon I think is more valuable than the draw discard on the Dark Lizard, because you have Eismon already. So you're essentially playing like 5-6 Eismons, they're just discount Eismons. So I think that's plenty of draw discard on top of the rookies and other stuff like that. Moving on to level 6s, Mervamon is the main star of the show. So the Mervamon, when you play it, lets you play a level 4 or lower purple Digimon on the field from your trash. If you Digicross, you can play 2 instead, and you also can reduce the cost to play it by 3 if you Digicross with an Ignite-mon. So instead of costing 8, instead of costing 11, you'll cost 8. And then with Ignite-mon's effect, when you play a Digimon by an effect, assuming you fulfill that, then it actually only costs 7. And that's actually really not that bad. Especially if you get a mat or a memory boost or something like that, you can pretty reasonably give your opponent, just 3 or 4 memory. So it also has the effect all turns anything with Crossheart or Retaliation gains Rush and Blocker. So that's why the Mervamon is such a good defensive card, is you basically set up 2 blockers on top of your Mervamon, and if they let the Mervamon live until the next turn and you play another one, then you have 4 blockers with Retaliation. And it can just snowball very, very quickly. Another thing that's cool, if your opponent gives you a ton of memory, you can just play the Mervamon and get Rush on all your dudes, which is pretty neat. So they have to be careful of that. Outside of that, the Mervamon is just, there's nothing inherently special other than just enabling all your level 4s and some of your level 3s. One thing to note though is, assuming you do Digicross, be careful around Digivolve effects, because that takes away your Retaliation, or your Retaliators having blocker. So in the War-Greymon matchup, or the Black War-Greymon matchup especially, if they Digivolve your Mervamon, then they can just kind of ignore all your other little dudes, because they won't have blocker anymore unless you have a second Mervamon. So that's just something to be aware of. The second mega in the deck is obviously BeelStarmon. I love this card, it's great. BeelStar says whenever you play it, you can return an option with a 7 cost to your hand and then play one. So, but it also lets you reduce the play cost for every 7 cost option or 3 Musketeers in your trash. So say you have 5 7 cost options in your trash, when you play the BeelStar, it'll cost 7 to play instead of 12. So that's really cool. I'll get to the options in a little bit, but you can play a variety of different things. Obviously, if you've played the game, or if you've played BeelStar before, you know it plays typically purple, red, black, and blue now. But in this deck, you're only playing purple options. You don't have any other alternate colors to enable through tamers or anything like that. So it's just the purple options, but that's really all you need. There's plenty of good purple options with 7 cost that you can take advantage of. Obviously, I've mentioned Nailbone a couple times. That's one of the main ones. It also can act as just a cheap removal, so you have 7 or 8 7 cost options in the trash. You can Fly Bullet or Trump Sword something for 4 or 3, which is just really good. Finally, to close out the Digimon, we're playing 2 Decklistmon. This card is just insanely broken, so there's not really a reason not to play at least one. For consistency reasons, I've thrown in 2. Because your main removal options are just 1-stack targets, Trump Sword and Fly Bullet only get rid of one thing at a time. Death X is just an easy way to wipe the board if your opponent goes way too wide. Obviously, the thing that stops that is the Floodgate rookies that prevent reducing play cost, but all of your stuff kind of revolves around that anyways, so if they get a couple of them down, that's just really hard anyways, so that's why I've opted just to not tech for it. I've just went for straight consistency instead. I'll get into a couple options at the end that can be used to try to counter that and give yourself a better chance in those matchups, but for now, I've just thrown in the 2 Death X, and it is just really good. I've got a couple tamers in the deck, playing 2 Mat. Memory Tamer helps you get back resources that maybe you've had to discard off an awkward hand earlier, or something in security that you want. It's just really good card. So, pretty vanilla, but I think there's no reason not to play 2 of it. The other tamer we're playing is 2 Sora and Mimi. So this card is sort of like another Gabumon. When you attack, you can suspend it and draw and trash 1. So it just helps you cycle your discard a lot more. Also helps you, just run through the deck and find the pieces you need, because, I mean, you are a combo deck at the end of the day, so any extra draw is good draw. The other effect lets you gain 2 memory if your opponent doesn't have a level 4 or lower in play at the start of your turn. Honestly, that doesn't really come up a lot, but it is something your opponent has to play around, so if they don't want to just give you 2 free memory, they have to put a little rookie down, and a lot of the times maybe that stops them from evolving and raising to something else they want to evolve into. So it's not the worst thing in the world, it's not the best thing in the world, it's just okay, but the main reason it's in here is just for the extra draw discard. Helps you cycle and power up into your BeelStars and your Mervamons much quicker. Alright, for the options, we are playing 4 Fly Bullet. Fly Bullet is just I would say the best purple removal option right now, and it also just targets anything like level 6 or lower and just flat out kills it. Security effect is the same, just activates the main effect, so if anything swings into this, as long as it's not a level 7, it will die, or assuming it doesn't have any protection or anything, obviously. But still just a really good card. BeelStar's signature card too, so obviously you gotta play 4 of it. Right. Next we're playing 4 Nailbone. Nailbone is just a really good aggressive card. When you play it, you can play a level 3 and level 4 purple Digimon from your trash. On-play effects don't activate. So this is just really good to get some extra bodies on the board, get some extra pressure going. It lets you play a little bit wider. That's kind of a theme with this deck. Obviously Mervamon plays 2 bodies. If you use BeelStar to use Nailbone, you play 2 more bodies. So you essentially get 3 bodies whenever you play a Mega, which is really cool and can really pin a lot of decks under a lot of pressure. Insecurity also, when it hits, you get to play just 1 level 4 or lower. So it can help you get an extra Retaliator if you've already got a Mervamon and you don't feel like blocking, or they've got rid of your other blockers and they hit a Nailbone, you can get 1 back and then it's instantly a blocker. Or you can just get back an Eismon if you need extra draw for the following turn. So it's really cool, it's really versatile. That's also why we play, again, the Demi Devimons, because it's the only level 3 that has Retaliation. So if you play a Mervamon, get back 2 Retaliators, say they don't kill those, don't wipe your board, then you play a BeelStar for a Nailbone, and you get back, say, another Soulmon or Dark Lizardmon and a Demi Devimon. So then you've got 4 Retaliator blockers, and you've just got 6 bodies, and your opponent just has to deal with it. If they don't, they probably lose. So Nailbone, very good card. the last ones of the 7 cost options is Trump Sword. This is just another generic removal option for purple. It's been out since set 1, well, set 1 for English anyways, and it's still just a really solid card. Obviously, it only targets unsuspended stuff, so if your opponent attacks and swings into this insecurity, it does not destroy them, but it can destroy something else. But also, a lot of the time, your opponent won't want to swing because you can retaliate into them, so they'll leave themselves unsuspended, in which case, even if they are level 7, you can Trump Sword them. So you've got some nice counterplay to a lot of the things your opponent would want to do to counterplay your deck. So it's a lot of back and forth that you can take advantage of in this deck. Last up, I'm playing 2 Purple Memory Boost. Search is still just really good in any deck, so, and obviously with the Mat in play, plus the Sora Mini, plus a Purple Memory Boost, which is not unreasonable to get one of each of those in play, you can actually Mervamon and keep it your turn. You can, go up to 7 memory, and then Digicross with the Ignite Mon and just pay 7 for the Mervamon, and then actually use the rush effect of the Mervamon. So it's very niche, rarely ever comes up, but it's a nice thing to be able to do. The main thing is being able to search out either Death X or early Eyesmons or early Merva/BeelStars. So just having flexibility for search is really good, even though you have so much draw. A lot of the time you just maybe need to push for one extra piece. So I think the Purple Memory Boosts are still very good. Alright, so that's it for the main deck. In terms of some other tech choices you can go for, obviously the Purple Floodgates are pretty decent. So Psychmon, players can't reduce play costs, and Yazimon, your opponent can't gain memory except through tamer effects. So the Psychmon might seem a little counterintuitive because, like I said before, all of your level 6s and 7s revolve around reducing play costs to some degree. So if you ever just leave a Psychmon on the board and can't get rid of your own Psychmon, that's really bad. But a lot of the times you can just evolve it and be fine. But at the end of the day, I'd rather just have an answer to my opponent's Psychmon or Triggerline Solomon. So that's why I'm playing the Elecmon in this particular build right now. The Gazimon, kind of the same thing. I'd rather just have outs to my opponent's floodgates that stop me. But the Gazimon's nice, it can stop, opposing memory boosts. It can be nice to just get it back off on the Nailbone and say, actually, you can't use that memory boost this turn. So I think if I were to play either of these, I think Gazimon would be my favorite one, but one of each is probably okay. So these would be my cuts or be my adds if I cut the Elecmon spots. I wouldn't really change any of the other rookies, to be honest. Apart from that, I think Ogremon is another option to be able to get rid of opposing floodgates. So Ogremon says on play you may trash a card from your hand to delete when your opponent's level 4 or lower. So it's good removal anyways. It also gets a card in the discard, which again is just what your deck tries to do anyways. So being able to do 2 things at once with just one level 4 for a 5 cost is pretty solid. I actually really want to find a room for the Ogremon, and the cards I'm thinking about cutting right now are 1 Death X and 1 Memory Boost. But I'm still messing around with that. Maybe I just add in 1 Ogremon. But the cool thing is Mervamon doesn't stop on-play effects from happening, so you can still Mervamon, get an Ogremon back, and delete something. When you do that, the Nailbone does stop on-play effects, so you can't Nailbone it out to do that, but you can with the Mervamon, so it's good to note that. Alright, so there you have it. That's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you try the Ogremon, tell me what you think of it. That's certainly the thing I want to fit the most. I think the deck is really solid. It's got some good matchups. It's also got some hard matchups. The things that play the floodgates, or a lot of them, can be really difficult. But I think it's in a really good spot in the meta. A lot of things have trouble with just a bunch of retaliators. So, and yeah, that'll do it for me. We'll be having some more games coming up on the channel. I'll probably try and get some more games with this too. We'll have some more deck profiles coming your way too. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.